Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and I've been collecting Japanese action figures for close to 10 years. Ever since I was a kid, I always loved collecting action figures, so it's kind of why my collection kind of looks like this. And even then, this ain't even all of it. I have so much more still in storage. It's just, this is all I have room to show off right now. But when people see my collection, they ask me what's my favorite one in my whole collection. So this video is going to be showing off my top 5 favorite figures, at least when it comes to the Japanese side of things. Over the years of me collecting figures, every once in a while there's one figure that blows me away so much, and it reminds me why I love collecting figures as much as I do. So when I was choosing a top 5, normally people would be like, oh, it was so hard to narrow it down to only 5. No, choosing my top 5 was super easy. I just looked at my shelf and I looked at what I had, and the ones that impressed me the most or I loved the most just immediately came to my eyes. So it literally took me 10 seconds to figure out which ones are my top 5. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Maybe 30 seconds. Point is, it took me less than a minute to see which all ones I had out of my whole collection and say, these are my top 5. But before I get into my top 5, I want to ask you guys a quick question of the day. Out of your collection, what is your favorite piece? Whether it be action figures or video games or anything that you're passionate about, whether it be collecting or just not even collecting, just something that you own that brings you so much joy and makes you so happy that you have it. Let me know in the comments. So without further ado, these are my top 5 favorite Japanese action figures. So coming in at number 5 is gonna be the True Force Mega Man X. Now the story behind this figure is they made this weird concept design of X, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's completely unique, futuristic, and I love it. So when they decided they're gonna make an action figure of that design, I was all on board. Now keep in mind, I'm actually not a huge Mega Man fan as a game character. However, as a kid, I fell in love with the original Mega Man. Well, I think it was a Jazzwares figure that I fell in love with. At that point, I never played the games. I just loved the way he looked as an action figure, and I wanted to take him home, and I got him. So when they made a Figuarts figure, I immediately hopped on that. But he's not that great of a figure. He's very, very fragile. So that's why he's not in the top 5. I even got the Figuarts X, and that figure is great too. But this figure is completely in a league of its own. This figure is so special. Not only is he designed very well, just artistically, but here he's also partially made out of die-cast metal, so it also adds some production value, and it just adds sturdiness. It's just overall a well-built figure, and plus he has the amazing articulation that you would expect out of a Japanese figure like this. And this was close to one of my first figures. And they've made 4 different paint jobs of this figure as well, because this is a Kickstarter thing. So they made a gray one that was a Kickstarter exclusive, and this is the standard. Then they made a dark one that looked really awesome, and then they one that made it look like it was upgraded. I liked that one too, but I only got the standard X. And of course he comes with other accessories as well, like the standard stuff, an extra phase, a couple extra hands, an extra arm that's not the blaster. The blaster even lights up too, and of course there's blast effects as well. He comes with the amount of accessories that you'd expect out of a Mega Man figure, and so it's somewhat minimal, but basic enough. But it's mainly the build quality and the overall finish of the figure as well that has me so impressed with this thing. And it also kind of represents how much my collection and love for action figures has grown. I went from something as basic as standard Mega Man from a Jazzwares figure to something more intricate like this that has much better articulation, much more detail, much more accessories, and overall beautiful. So as someone who's not a Mega Man fan, as an action figure fan, I love the True Force Mega Man X. Coming in at number 4 is a little bit of a tie actually. It's the same character from the same figure line. It's just a matter of which design do I like more. That is the Figuarts Kai Cloud. This is the remake version 1.5, I guess, because this is the one that came with the bike. So they improved the face a little bit, but there is a better one on top of this one. And then we also have the Advent Children Cloud as well. Now these are much bigger figures than anything else in my collection, so they really stand out, and at first I didn't really want these figures all that much because of how much they stand out. But there is nothing in the scale of Figuarts, SH Figuarts, Figma, or anything like that of Final Fantasy VII Remake Cloud in particular. So I caved and I bought the Figuarts Kai, and I don't regret it at all. When it comes to the Remake Cloud in particular, his accessories are very minimal. Just a couple extra hands and a little peg to like put his sword on his back, and that's about it. But I overall love this look so much, especially the hair. Like, oh my goodness, I love this figure so much. And I love the way his face is painted as well. It overall came out very, very nice. And before I was getting this figure, I was looking up review after review and was just obsessing over this figure. However, as much as I love this design, this on the other hand is a completely different league. This thing is great. Not only do you have all the other swords that you can strap to his back, and also have the combined fusion sword, which is fantastic. It's mainly, not only the outfit as well, but it's the face that I love on this figure the most. The face is what makes me love this figure so much. Because you can see in the picture that I'm providing right here, you can see the texture in his skin, you can see how detailed the irises are painted, and I feel like the newer Figuarts Kai, from what I've seen in pictures, I don't own one personally, but I feel like they don't do as good as a job painting the face like they did with the Advent Children Cloud in particular. Like, don't get me wrong, this remake Cloud right here looks fantastic as well on his face, but it doesn't have that texture on his skin like the Advent Children Cloud does, but I feel the hair is kind of better on this one. So it's a battle between these two. It's why I have a hard time choosing one over the other. They both have things that are better than the other one. But overall, I just love the Figuarts Kai Cloud, despite the fact that he doesn't really fit into my collection all that well. But something that my friend brought up recently that it kind of stuck to me is the way you feel when you're playing with these figures in particular, with anything that's Figuarts Kai, because the figures are so much bigger. It kind of feels like you're a little kid again, holding a standard action figure. So it kind of makes me feel special playing with these figures again. And when I did my photo shoots, I like fell in love with these figures. Even though they only came with one face, it was enough to work with. I love these figures so much. And every once in a while when I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll just look on my shelf and see Cloud. At least when I lived at home, when my figure collection was just above my desk when I was playing Final Fantasy VII, I would just look up and be like, man, he looks so good. So these will forever and always be some of my favorite figures in my collection. Coming in at number 3 is going to be some figures I actually recently got. That is going to be the Revoltech Woody and the Revoltech Buzz Lightyear. These are specifically the 1.5 versions, so they come with more faces, they come with the little green men, and all of their standard accessories, like extra faces, extra hands, little other stuff like little soldiers, the Lenny, I believe, the little binoculars guy. They come with a lot. They're really great. But not only is it the fact that like these have updated articulation, so they have much smoother joints and stuff like that. Part of it's also nostalgia and why I love these figures so much. But the biggest reason why I love these so much are the faces. Here, these eyes, they can move individually, so you can position them however you want. So with a combination of that, as well as being able to interchange the faces, it really adds a lot more emotion to these figures, and it really brings these figures to life. So with some of the photo shoots that I've done with these figures, with those eyes, with those faces, it really brings them to life. It really feels like they just popped off the movie and they're living in my space right now. It's really awesome. It also kind of helps that Toy Story is one of my favorite movies of all time. The fourth one, not so much, but 1 and 2 are definitely fantastic. The third one just makes me sad. But with these also being in the same scale as the rest of my action figures, as well as him having the articulation that I would want, as well as the accessories that I would want, these things are phenomenal. I wish they came with fists, but besides that, these things are nearly perfect. I love these figures so much. In fact, I love these figures so much that I don't put them on my regular shelves. I actually have them exploring the room as if they are alive, and they're trying to explore the environment and seeing other toys and trying to battle them, I guess. So it's nice that a movie about toys, one of my favorite movies of all time, and having figures in that same scale as the rest of my collection, it kind of comes full circle. It kind of it makes it feel like they belong in my collection, you know? They're not just a couple of action figures in my room. You can almost say it's kind of like furniture. It's just a piece of home, you know? It's a piece of my heart, you know? And I've wanted the regular versions of these figures for a while. So now I'm really happy I waited for the newer versions because they came with more and just overall look and feel so much better. Coming in at number 2 is the Figma Yugi. Now there can be any number of reasons why I love this figure as much as I do. Whether it be the nostalgia, whether it be his little dual disc, which is probably my top reason why I love this figure so much. It could be the design on how well he turned out as an action figure. I don't know exactly what to narrow it down to, but I always catch myself looking at this figure, falling in love with it all over again, and doing the same photo shoot every year. But the reason taking pictures with him is so nice is he was the first figure that I ever got that had interchangeable eyes. So he could look left, right, straight, and pair that with any face, and it adds so much more variety when it comes to your photo shoots. But it also helps that I have other figures to complement him, whether it be the SH Figuarts Ash, or the Vulcan Log Yugi or Dark Magician, or the Figma Kaiba, or the Figma Dark Magician Girl. I have a lot of things to coincide with this, and that's not even counting the cards that I have to make it look like he's summoning them. There's so much I can do with this figure, and every once in a while I just look at it and I just fall in love with it all over again. I remember when I got this, I was obsessed. Actually, with most of my figures that I've shown off today, there's every once in a while I'm just obsessed with it. But this is the one that I always obsess over the most. In fact, this is actually really close to becoming number 1. But there's one other figure that just barely beats him. Man, I love this Figma Yugi so much. But who is number 1? It's gonna go down to the figure that started everything. And that is the Nendoroid Sonic the Hedgehog. This figure alone is what got me into Japanese action figure collecting. This came out roughly around the same time that Sonic Generations was coming out, so the 20th anniversary. So we had all those figures coming out from Jazzwares, we had Sonic Generations coming out, and we had so much other merchandise coming out as well. So Nendoroid decided to make this figure, and this is the first time I've seen any of these Japanese figures at all. I remember, like, I was looking up figures just for Sonic, and I found a prototype for this that actually looked completely different to this. And I'm like, what is this thing? I need to, like, figure out what this thing is. I did some heavy research on this thing, and the first time I got this thing, it was actually a bootleg. So I made a video talking about the bootleg in multiple different types of videos, whether it be saying, hey, they exist, or this is how you can spot a bootleg. Here's the differences between the authentic and the fake. A bunch of videos like that, and it's kind of what helped my channel get discovered. So I have multiple reasons why I should love that figure, and that's why I actually keep the bootleg in my collection, because it kind of helped my channel get off the ground. Because prior to me making those videos, there was no information about bootleg figures out there for the Sonic Nendoroid in particular. So I had to get that information out there. And whenever I get a figure, I hold it to this standard as well, because he was jam-packed with a bunch of different accessories. We got a ring, we got a Chaos Emerald, we got a checkpoint, and we also got an item capsule with interchangeable items inside. And that's not even including the extra faces, the extra hands, the extra arm and leg that Sonic has, as well as his little display stand. With that being my first figure of Japanese stuff in general, it blew my mind on how much he came with. So whenever I see a figure nowadays that doesn't come with a whole lot, I think about the fact that all of this came out and he was like $35, or at least Japanese yen to US dollars, pretty close to $35, no more than 50. And it's because of this figure that got me into, like, taking action figure collecting a little bit more seriously. Get myself a shelf to display these figures better, instead of me just putting them into a book bag or something to just put them away for later. And I should start keeping the boxes for these figures and just overall take care of them, you know? This figure changed my collecting habit forever. And he has been released multiple times, and every time he sells out, and he maintains the same value he has multiple times over. Is this stupid to say that I'm getting a little bit teary-eyed, just like even just looking at this figure? Because, like, I just thought about now, like, how much this figure actually made an impact on my life. And that's so stupid to say, but it also, like, helps me realize how much action figure collecting really means to me. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the Nendoroid Sonic, even the bootleg, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I just think about how my younger self fell in love with this figure. And I'm happy I still have it. Even the bootleg. So that is my top 5 list of my favorite Japanese action figures. If you liked this video, let me know in the comments, again, what's some of your favorite things in your collection or what you have. But depending on how well this video goes, I might do more videos like this, whether it be my top 5 Sonic figures, even though this will probably be at number 1 again anyway. My favorite Mario figures, favorite Crash, whatever. Like, I can dig out figures out of storage and make videos on them. It's crazy. Like I just went through an emotional roller coaster just looking at this freaking Sonic. How silly is that? So that pretty much sums it up for this video. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description is going to be my social media. So if you want to follow me on anything like that, that'd be incredible. And if you love talking about video games or action figures, make sure you catch me in my live streams, because we can talk about that kind of thing. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death. And I'll see you on the next one. So peace.